Is intercompany reconciliations. Intercompany reconciliation is just like bank reconciliation statement in which we tally the accounts of both the sides. So let's get started. But before understand the meaning of intercompany reconciliation, first we understand the meaning of intercompany transaction. Okay. Now in the commercial world, you must have seen that the transactions occurring between two unrelated entities. Okay, though sometimes we have seen that transactions may occur between the units of one legal entity. Okay, that is called intercompany transactions. Example, suppose there is a parent company and this parent company has two subsidiaries. They have extended their business and now they have two subsidiaries, that is subsidiary A and subsidiary B. When now they have extended their business, so there is a transaction of entries, also transaction like purchase and sale, transfer of inventory. Okay, so these kind of transactions are happening between them. This is called intercompany transactions. Okay, so when these kind of transactions happening between the entities, then reconciliation is also necessary. So we do the reconciliation also. It means intercompany reconciliation means reconciling among the two branches of the same company. Same company means one is the parent company. Okay, two branches is subsidiary A and subsidiary B, located in multiple locations. It can be in India or it could be out of India also. Okay, so these kind of reconciliation reduces the chance of inaccuracies in the company's financial statement. So whenever they will prepare the consolidated financial statement at the end of year, there will be no problem, because that time the accounts, the balances of both the accounts, both the entities should match. Okay, now there are so many kinds of transactions intercompany involves. What kind of transactions? Few of them we have mentioned here. First one is purchase and sale of goods and services, declaration and payment of dividends, borrowing and lending, inventory transfer from one unit to another. Now next is nature of transactions between parent and subsidiary, or you can say the types of transaction. There are three types of transactions occurring between parent and subsidiary companies. The first one is downstream, second one is upstream, and the third one is lateral transaction. Downstream transactions, as you can see in the picture, there is a parent company here. It flows from parent company to subsidiary company, that is known as downstream. As you can see in the picture, there is a downward arrow here. Okay, so it means downstream. So downstream, which the transactions flows from parent to subsidiary company. Second is the upstream. Upstream means when the transaction flows from subsidiary companies to the parent company. Okay, that is called upstream. Third and the last one is lateral transactions. Lateral transactions, when the transactions occurring between two subsidiaries companies, or between the subsidiaries, or between the units of one legal entities, that is known as lateral transaction. So let's understand these kind of transactions in detail. First one is downstream transaction. Downstream transaction, we know that it flows from parent company to subsidiary company, and only the parent company records all the transactions and applicable profit and loss. It is transparent and visible only to the parent company and its stakeholder. Example, like selling an asset or inventory to a subsidiary. So when parent company selling an asset or any kind of good or services to the subsidiary company, then what will be the effect of that? At that time, when they prepare the consolidated income statement, that time they eliminate intercompany revenue and cost of sales arising from that transaction when they will prepare the consolidated income statement. In the same way, when they prepare the consolidated balance sheet, that time also they eliminate intercompanies payable and receivable. Payable and receivable here means accounts payable and accounts receivable. Purchase, cost of sale, profit and loss arising from the transaction. Alright. Now next is upstream transaction. Upstream transaction means when the transaction flows from subsidiary to parent company. In that case, under this upstream transaction, only subsidiary company records the transaction and related profit or loss. In downstream, we have studied only the parent company has a right to record the transaction. Okay. Now, example is a subsidiary might transfer an executive to the parent company for a period of time, charging the parent by the hour for the executive services. In this case, majority and minority interest stakeholders can share the profit or loss because they share ownership of the subsidiary. Now, what happens when subsidiary makes a sale or selling an asset to the parent or any purchase of good or service? Then what will happen? Again, the same thing in consolidated income statement. They will eliminate the revenue and cost of sales arising from that transaction, and when they will prepare the consolidated balance sheet, that time also they will eliminate intercompany payable and receivable. Again, payable and receivable means accounts payable and accounts receivable. Profits and losses are eliminated against the non-controlling and controlling interest proportionally. Okay. Third one is lateral transactions. Lateral transaction means when the transactions are occurring between the subsidiaries. That is called lateral transactions, and here both the subsidiaries record the transactions along with profit or loss, which is similar to the upstream transaction, because we have studied in upstream transaction only subsidiary can record the transaction. Okay, example is when one subsidiary provides information technology services to another subsidiary for a fee. Next is the types of or kinds of intercompany eliminations. We have just studied the elimination under different types of transactions. So let's study a little bit in detail what are the kinds or what are the types of eliminations which occur in intercompany transaction. The first one is intercompany debt. Intercompany debt means it eliminates any loans. Any loans here means whether it is short term or long term loans. Okay, they eliminate any loans made from one entity to another within the group, and it will result in offsetting of notes payable and notes receivable. Again, notes payable and notes receivable means accounts payable and accounts receivable, and it also eliminates the interest expense and interest income. Okay, interest income. These issues mostly arise when funds are being moved between entities by a centralized treasury department. Okay, next is intercompany revenue and expenses. When we talk about revenue and expenses, it means there is a sale of goods and services. So under this kind of elimination, intercompany, it eliminates the sale of goods and services from one entity to another within the group. Okay, it means that related revenue, cost of goods sold, that is CGS, and profits will all be eliminated. The reason for these elimination is only that a company cannot recognize revenue from sale to itself. Okay, so these issues mostly arise when a company is vertically integrated. Next is the last one, intercompany stock ownership under intercompany elimination. It eliminates the ownership of it. It is very important. It eliminates the ownership interest of the parent company in its subsidiaries. Next is what is the necessity of eliminating intercompany transaction? Why we are eliminating the intercompany transactions? The reason only is that they are internal transactions from a consolidated perspectives, because whatever we are doing internally. We are giving to our family member. We are not selling to outsider. Okay, that is why we are eliminating, to provide the doubling effect of the, otherwise it will show the dual profits. Okay, which is not in favor of company, and it will not represent the true financial position of the business also. So because they are internal transactions from a consolidated perspective, not because they are related project, only the transactions with outside unrelated parties can be reported in the consolidated statements. Next is what are the problems with intercompany reconciliation. Problem arises starts with when an invoice booked on the accounts receivable at one subsidiary is often not booked on the accounts payable of the payer on time and correctly. it gives rise to the problems. Okay, the first one is mismatches due to delays or incorrect booking of accounts payable. Mismatches due to delays means, suppose I have made entry in the month of January, 25th January. The other entity have entered the entry in the month of February, 2nd of Feb. So there is a mismatch due to delays. Okay. Incorrect booking of accounts means the amount of the entry, like figures. Okay, that is also problem. Not clear who is the relevant contact to resolve the disputes. We don't know to whom we should contact to resolve the disputes. Consolidated balance sheet needs manual adjustment, very important. P&L accounts may be incorrectly presented. Sometimes we forgot to enter the entry. Okay, settling disputes between the units regarding the imbalance about the figures also. Suppose I have entered the entry for 5,000, they entered for 50,000, that also happens. Rectifying the possible control issues. Considerable time pressure at month end. Considerable time pressure at month end means we always reconcile the statements at the end of the month, so which is also a problem. Reconcile data and documentation is often not stored centrally. Okay, now these are the problems of the intercompany reconciliation. When we have the problem, we have solutions also. So whatever the problems we have, we can easily convert into solutions also. Okay, the first one solution for this is simple standardized data and simple standardized end-to-end intercompany accounting process documentation, visible repository for all the end of month statements, automated reconciliation tool, shared KPIs. KPIs here means key performance indicators for all the accountable parties. Okay, global contact global contact listing of accountable parties by entity, formalized escalation process to alert appropriate management about the problems. We should inform them if there is a problem. Global imbalance and aging report. Global imbalance here means, suppose we have an entity outside the India. Suppose one parent company is residing in US and subsidiary companies in India. We are recording here transaction in rupees, and the parent company who is residing in US, they are recording the transaction in dollars. Then that is also, so we have to find a solution for that. Legal or tax restriction policy on deviations. So these are the solutions to the intercompany transactions or for the intercompany reconciliations.